Can here with another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest, and boy, do I have news for you. This has been really exciting. So the first thing I want to share with you right off the bat is that our intuitive guidance system is really expanding and evolving. What does that really mean? Well, it means that our spiritual gifts are really coming online, and not just online, they are amplifying. So those of you that are really into growing your spiritual gifts, guess what? It's happening right now, and it is growing. What we have found, interestingly, is you can ask, how happy is your intuitive guidance system? So hopefully you'll get 100% happy or 100% balanced and healthy. And if it's not, you can certainly use the Topican healing directive and ask and command that it be 100% happy and healthy. But not only that, interestingly, we have found some glitches where some folks are getting at least temporarily increased symptoms of what they used to have. So if you used to have panic attacks, you might get panic attacks again. If you used to have pain in your left knee, you might get pain again. You used to have digestive bloating issues, you might get that again, thinking, oh, that's weird. Why am I having this even though I've healed it? Certain parts of our body can be kind of like our sensitive parts, our intuitive sensors. So here is the cool trick. So you can check in and see how happy is my intuitive guidance system balancing with all the other systems. So there are multiple other systems, and I don't even have names for most of them. The physical systems are very well known. So that's the immune system, the nervous system, cardiovascular, lymphatic, etc., etc. Most commonly, they talk about 12 different systems. There may be 2 extra ones, which I've been told, but I'm really not quite sure how that works. But the fascial system is not considered often a physical system, but it really is, because it really is the conduit between the energetic and the physical body. The meridians are traveling in the fascia of the body, so the fascial system is actually a system. So you can check how happy that system is and command it healed if it's not completely happy. The other system has to do with our fat. Now, maybe you can give me some names of it. Fat processing system, fat system, I don't know what to call it, but it's another physical system. So I have yet to really deeply look into what the heck that system's about, but I think given what we know about fat, think about it in med school and in science, we think, oh, fat is just kind of there for structure and there for energy and padding and holding toxins. Well, it probably is a lot more than that. So I have to kind of sit with source and be in stillness and see what messages I get about the fat system. But anyway, so there are all these different systems in the physical body. Then we have spiritual systems. Probably the most important one, well, I should say the most important one, the one that is forefront is your spiritual protection system. So you want that to be 100% at all times and all timelines, right? Then we have mental systems, and there is something called the ascension integration system, and for each part of the body, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, dimensional, etc., there is a sub-processing system, it seems, for each of those. So you have a mental ascension processing system, you have an emotional ascension integration system. Sorry, this should be integration, not processing. So you have energetic, emotional ascension processing system, or I keep saying processing. Well, there's definitely ascension one. Maybe there's a processing one too. Aside from the ascension integration system, which we want that to be 100%, of course, emotionally, you might want to check your emotional detoxification system. So when other emotions come in, or your emotions, do they hang around too long? You want that to be 100% efficient and happy, right? So we want to make sure that's happy. So there's an emotional processing system for sure. Let's see. So we've got mental, emotional, energetic. There's an energetic detoxification system, an energetic processing system as well, I believe. And there is, I think, a dimensional clearing system as well. So these have various names. I'm just trying to put names to some of them, but they come up in sessions, which is why I'm sharing them with you. So some of you have already known that we have 55 systems. Well, you know what, some of these systems are in other bodies and other timelines, and we're not even human in those timelines. So but it's all good. You want all your systems to be 100% at all times, right? So check your intuitive guidance system. Make sure it is 100% happy and balanced as well with all your other systems. And here's another tip for you. Ground all your systems to the 7th plane. In other words, heaven. So ground all your systems to the 7th plane. And that should help settle out some of these, niggly, annoying symptoms that have cropped up for many of you. I like to do what's called a multi-system checkup for my patients and clients. Sometimes I'll just say, hey, let's do a systems check. Then I'll ask how many systems are not 100% happy and healthy at all times, including system components. Now, you may miss a few things, but that kind of gets you a general ballpark. It's funny because the people I've been working with, they'll come up maybe 3 systems out of balance, maybe 2, something like that. Well, I just saw a patient that I see maybe, twice a year. And when we checked the systems check, it was like, I don't know, 10 things or something, 10 systems out of balance. So I was like, okay, I guess you're a little behind. But most of the people I see, especially if they're using my Ascension 1 and 2 tools, my deep healing MP3s, then you generally are doing much, much better. And so that ability for the intuitive guidance system to be balanced, grounded, and balanced with other systems, those infusions are already done in my Ascension tools and all my elixirs, all my MP3s, as God said that was for the highest good. So that should help support you. This morning it's been interesting. I was asking about sensitivity because I had a reading recently that says that certain parts of my body were very sensitive, and I thought, oh yeah, I never thought of asking that. So I asked the intuitive sensitivity of my various body parts and asked, if there are any that were extremely sensitive, and I got my skin and my fascia, and which is probably why I have all these bruises from getting Medicupping last week, where I normally don't get bruises because stuff was shifting, stuff was changing, So my skin this morning was a 9 out of 10 in intuitive sensitivity, and my fascia was that as well. I couldn't understand why, given how healthy I am and everything, and how well I eat, and things like that, and how just, pretty peaceful I am most of the day and pretty happy and passionate about what I do. Why is my fascia still stuck to my skin? And I was like, oh, that's like part of my intuition system. So that part gives me, in this case, excessive feedback of what I'm sensing. So I actually turned down the volume of that this morning to a 0 or 1. So I'll have to check tomorrow to see where they're at, and I'll have to give you feedback later as to whether that helped any of my minor symptoms. I always want to check in and say, hey, why is this still not completely happy? It's not to say I don't accept it. I can accept it, but then say, I'm curious. This is very interesting. So I got that intuitive hit today. Maybe that'll help you. Maybe you have a liver that's extremely sensitive, or your ileocecal valve, and you get constipated often when you get intuitive information. So I'm actually surprised and happy that I just have 2 types of cells generally that were sensitive, overly sensitive, I suppose, to intuitive information. So I think for most of us, we can turn that volume down to a 0 or 1 if allowed by source. So you can check that out. The other great thing I want to share with you is a little bit more about healing power. So I talked about last time healing power. We got that terminology from Ed Stracher. Thank you so much, Ed. And what's fascinating is that, he was sharing how high healing power my husband James was when he was in his 20s. But it was fascinating because at that time he was really into drugs. He kind of opened up his sixth sense, his third eye, and I thought, well, that's interesting. His healing power was 5 billion, which is extremely rare, apparently. But I can guarantee you he was not a highlight score at the time. So that I thought, wow, that's very interesting. So someone could be a very high healing power, but not necessarily a high light score. So I got to more, asking God some questions, because I noticed that, when I was checking some people's higher selves, I got the 100% light, or this other being, the God team, or whatever, was 100% light, but not completely aligned with source. I said, well, how is that possible? If you're 100% light, shouldn't be automatically aligned with divine source completely? And I get a no. So then my friend Tamara, she's so wonderful. I was telling her about, this whole discernment thing, and she, intuitively figured some of the stuff out, and got me to figure it out, actually. She says, ask every being, even spirit beings you're working with, Are you of true love, light, and truth? So love, light, and truth. And I thought, well, is there such a thing as a truth score or love score? And God's like, yep. So I was like, oh, that's cool. So you can actually measure not just the light score of a person, which is their, vibe, their light frequency vibe, but also what their love score is. So the love scores are like the amount of love they have, kind of thing, for, that's the best description I have at this time. And then truth, how aligned are they with divine truth, how, that truth. So you could have someone that's a super high healing power and a high light score, but not high on the love score, not high on the truth score, or, medium high or whatever. So last 2 nights, I haven't slept as well. I've been doing all these kind of stressful dreams, and I thought that's kind of interesting. What's going on? And I don't always assume it's my stuff. So go ahead and do that for yourself. Don't assume it's your stuff. So I asked, well, whose stuff is this? And apparently for the last 2 nights while sleeping, I've been proxying for all healers in our entire universe. Yeah, okay, thanks. It wasn't that big a deal, but I was like, oh, that explains things. So there was definitely some global, well, in this case, universal healing to do for all healers. And so I went ahead and did that healing today for us healers, including amplifying whatever it takes to amplify and improve our love, light, and truth scores. And when those scores are near 100% or 100%, then we are fully aligned with Source. So Source is not just a light alignment, it is a love and truth alignment too. Woo! New information. Wow. It never ceases to amaze me, some of the stuff that we get. And there were a lot of synchronicities this week happening. So that's one of the ways that I know that I'm on the right path, is these messages, signs. A lot of people mentioned last week that my Spiritual Medicine Digest, oh my God, did you know it was 11 minutes, 11 seconds? I said, yeah, I noticed that. And, it's just one of those other signs. It was so cool. And in addition to proxying for healers during the nighttime the last 2 nights, this morning I woke up and suddenly I couldn't muscle test as me. Now I got a yes, a strong no, so my polarity, so-called polarity, was correct. But I say, I am Karen Can. My name is Karen Can. I got a no. So then I thought, okay, now who am I? So I asked if I'm a being, an intelligent being, I think I ended up, it was like multiple beings or something. Anyway, it ended up, I got a strong to I am nothing. Yes, I am nothing. So I don't mean nothing as in a bad way, but we've gone through these stages of ascension where we are one with everything, including our alternate lives. Oh, don't worry about the oven there. The other thing is we get to another stage, so-called stage, and we end up being everything. So I am everything was a yes. That was like 4 days long, and that was really uncomfortable for a lot of sensitives. So I'm everything, or I am the multiverse. You get a yes to, okay? That lasted a few days. I quickened up that cycle so it wouldn't be so uncomfortable for my folks, infuse those into my ascension tools and MP3s, etc. So that would be a little bit quicker. And then the next one was I am consciousness. Okay, that only lasted less than a day for me. So, I muscle tested, I am consciousness. I muscle tested, I'm Karen Can. Nope, I am consciousness. Yes, okay. So today is I am nothing. So that is apparently going to be about 4 or 5 days as well. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to feel like. I did go skating for the first time in 6 weeks because we didn't have ice here in Lake Placid, and I asked, I asked Source. It was kind of weird to ask because I was asking Karen Can in the third person, but I was like, is it for Karen Can's high school grade, it's good to go skating today? Yes. Okay, so I went skating. So halfway through, I'm like doing little things, and I thought, I don't feel like pushing myself today. So I did a few things. I was pretty dizzy, going, the opposite spinning way, which I try to practice to do to get balanced. And then halfway through, I'm stretching, and I thought, okay, let me just check again. So I checked with Source. Is it for Karen Can's high school grade, it's good to continue skating? I get a no. So I'm like, wow. Okay, half a skating session only. I've never just done half. I've always done an hour or whatever. So I listened and I said, okay, I'm gone. I had a nice conversation with some Olympians, and then, went on my way. But I thought that was pretty interesting. But how I felt was interesting. I had a hard time feeling grounded in my body, I guess, in Karen Can's body. I did ask to be grounded, so I felt I was safe, but I just felt like this sense of, like I had thoughts going on, but then I'd go into these periods of nothing. Okay, so I'm just going with it. You know, there's a new movie about emoticons. Emoticons are those like smiley faces and stuff. If you're online, you see smiley faces, frowny faces. Well, I can't remember the name of the movie, but the star of the movie is the face that's meh, like meh. So that was me, you know? I'm at the rink, I'm supposedly doing my favorite activity in the whole wide world, and I'm like, meh. Wasn't bad, wasn't good, just meh. So apparently the character in the movie, by the way, does more than that eventually. I think meh evolves. Okay, so I'm sure this is going to evolve as well. But in case you're going through some weird meh this week, maybe you are in the same stage I'm at in the ascension, that I am nothing. Now, I'm nothing is actually not necessarily a bad place to be, because stillness is very important. You probably learned that if you listened to Ed's interview on the radio show on Monday last week. So, well, I should say this is past Monday. So what does that mean? Well, if you can be in stillness, that means the mind is not running. When your mind is not running, you can connect to the heart and then fully receive the healing and receive the guidance and messages. So some of you have, definitely my VIP group is like, well, you know, how do I get into the stillness? I've been trying for years, I've been meditating, and I have to be honest, I really suck at meditation. Yeah, not good at that. I mean, some people are just made for that, you know, they just sit there and they can om for like 3 hours and they're perfectly and blessed and happy. Not me, I gotta do something. My mind's going on. And so I always thought there was something wrong with me until I met Frank Kinslow of the Kinslow system, learned quantum entrainment, used stillness, you as in like EU feeling, use stillness, EU stillness. You're not like, it's not stress as in bad stress, it's not, you know, distress as bad stress, right? But good stress, guess what it's called? It's called eustress, EU stress. We're not talking about stress, but we're talking about a state. So after learning from Frank, and I bought everything that Frank has, all his MP3s, all his books, and read it, I thought, oh my gosh, I can do this. This is not a doing, by the way, but compared to regular meditation, you stillness, you feeling is so much easier for me. So when Ed did our group process 2 weeks ago with my VIP group, it was no surprise that, you know, my healing power went from 200 to, at that point, 1 million that quickly, because Ed said, you know, I was able to go into that stillness. So then the challenge is for the rest of us, right, to be able to go into stillness more often. So I've invited Frank Kinslow back on our show. I love Frank. He's just a great guy. And like I said, I have everything he owns, everything he's created. If you are not into meditation, or if you've done meditation for years and go, gee, I'm not getting any results, okay, I'm kind of result oriented, I definitely admit that, then maybe you want to check into Frank's work. So we're going to talk about you feeling, you stillness, and you feeling in healing, and share with you some great insights. So join us for next Monday's radio show with Frank Kinslow. And then the week after that, I'm going to be interviewing my friend, CEO of LifeWave, talking about the Nirvana patch and the seaweed pills that help increase your beta endorphins and some other wonderful chemicals in your body, which has some beneficial effects. So it's going to be kind of a sciencey talk, but you're more than welcome to call in and ask some questions as well. I'm going to try my Nirvana on my dear dog here, who's actually being very quiet right now, even though Daddy's not home. Maybe it's starting to work. Woohoo! Okay, so lots of exciting stuff. As always, love to have you as part of my Light Warrior group. If you're not already, check out some of the self-healing programs, and they have had a major boost now that my healing power has gone up, and working on that love and truth score getting higher as well, not just for me, but for all healers. So if you felt a shift already, which I hope you have, since I've done some universal healing, awesome, very awesome. Until next time. Thanks for watching and take care. Have a wonderful week.